Hey, YouTuberizers. Another short talk in the trailer with the old guy. I got a kind of this low-level stupidity going on at the park today, and I'm trying to be the one to fix it up. But I'm going to just show you all I've really done. You can go back and watch my other DIY on these shoes. The shoes haven't changed. I'm not altering the design. I'm going to let you see what these rascals look like, okay? So right there, you can see there's a lug. It goes to 14 gauge stranded. I'm insulated only to about here. Then everything beyond that inside is just stranded free. There's no contact. And so I curled up probably 7 to 10 inches in there. Here's Rancho Grande del Gringo, where I live. I'm going to tell you a little hokey pokey story in a minute. But anyhow, so I had this brainwave and I thought, hey, I'm getting super intelligent. So what I originally did is after I wound the wire down, and like I said, just go watch the other vid, these little discs, very thin, galvanized, nice. I got them at the local, I believe it's McCoy's. And so what a roofer will do when they're nailing down their paper, the underlayment, they use those things because the wind will just eat the paper and run away with it. And so they use it to help tag down the thing. Well, I came up with a new idea. Anyway, today I went down and found there's a place in town, just one that I could find. Get a load of that. One of the builders I worked for uses this stuff on his houses, and it's a very nice product. It's copper sheeting, really copper. So all I did was cut 2 of them. How did I know how big to make that? About like that. I just lined it up with this one. So that describes the arc. The straight goes forward. So now my heel is sitting on top of a new array. At the very bottom, Dr. Mike, what did you do? Basically what I did is I came up with the idea of metal on metal on metal. That's a lot of metal. And so, Changing Times by Nazareth, yeah. Actually, I do like Changing Times. The song isn't so great, it's all right, but there's a riff in there the last 2 minutes. Got to go listen. Anyway, it's just good driving music. But the point is that, so here's the bottom of the shoe. There's the rubbery sole, and I've got an insole in there that's soft. You stick down the metal disc, you put down the stranded wire, and you make sure it doesn't look like anything. Just make it look kind of like a mop. And put a copper plate on top and stand on that bad boy. So now I'm going to show you. Now the lady next door was just peeking her head out. She could hear me talking, but she couldn't figure out who I was talking to. So anyway, I'll figure out, it takes about another 13 seconds to fix that other shoe, and I might show you what I'm doing, but by golly, if you can't figure this out, just think about it. Draw yourself a picture or something, will you? Anyway, here's Rancho Grande, and here's the dumpster. So what happened was I got up last night, I don't know, probably 1:15 or something like that. I thought, golly, I'm thirsty, I want to get a drink. And I went to turn on the water. Well, the water was dead. And, surprise. And here's another lady with her crazy dog. I think there's a lot of action in the neighborhood today because of this water. Because nobody knows what's going on except me. I'm the only one. It's like, is there an adult in the room? That's about one weird looking dog. So I keep thinking to myself, am I the only adult in the room? I mean, come on, let's get to the bottom of this. So what do? I walked over, I'm going to use my finger pointer in an inaccurate fashion. Sure to confuse you. Right where the edge of that trailer ends, and there's a brick wall behind it, about 4 feet to the left. Look there. The meter's there, and I opened the box. Well, surprise, water meter's turned off. So I thought, well, some knucklehead Twinkie boy, he got pissed off at his mama or something and shut off the darn park at 11:30 last night. Ha ha, I'm gonna go, well, it wasn't anything like that at all. It was even worse. It was stupid. Finally got a hold of the city. I had to call the emergency desk. The lady down there knows all about this, but she doesn't know anything about it. It's so weird. Yes, the city dispatched a crew. Yes, they shut it down. Why? Why? Well, there was a tenant somewhere, and they left. They were out of town. Huh? What? And they had a bad faucet, and it was leaking. What? And so we didn't want to ruin their trailer. What did you say? What? You guys are city and you don't know that every single trailer has its own shutoff? In fact, Most of them have too. I'll show you. Watch. Tough to figure out, guys. Tough to figure. Oh my gosh, and they're the tradesmen. Things look gloomy. So here's what happens, see? My neighbor, she's doing some watering. Well, why? Off of that little sticker. Well, I got its twin brother right here, and I do my little watering for the little lilac. I like that tree. I guess it's a bush. Anyhow, the short version is I'm hooked on the other side of the trailer on a very similar pattern. 2 risers, more or less side by side. Anyhow, the park, if you could get a hold of them, which is, shall we say, rather dicey, guess what? It's Juneteenth. Juneteenth. I went down to the USPS office, and I was so surprised because they were advertised on Google that they were open, and I thought, why is the door bolted? It was like 9:20 in the morning. Juneteenth. When did this begin? I just don't recall this at all. Anyway, the point being, federal employees find another reason to screw around. Newsflash. Never heard of that one before. Anyway, I don't know if USPS is federal anymore or not, or purely, I don't know. They're some kind of mongrel. But the point is, I decided to come back and make my shoes. So the lady, you know what she's going to do? I said, look, if you can just tell me which trailer you're talking about, because in the so-called report, they said, well, we found a trailer, but there was no number on it. And it was like, what? And so we shut down the whole park. Why didn't you shut down that trailer, boo-boo? Anyhow, the lady at the counter now can't tell me. Here, dear, I'll draw you a picture. You see that white thing flying out of the dirt with the brass thing stuck on it? You mean that? Yeah! The park is going to take their water as far as that little brass valve. That's all they care about. I told the lady, Monarch doesn't care. Why would they? If I wanted to turn on a 3-inch fire hose inside my house and let it run for a month, as long as they get their rent, that's all that matters. I mean, in their book. And besides that, try to get those guys on the phone. No, don't. It'll drive you nuts. Even when they're so-called there, they ain't there. But the point is, so finally the lady said, well, I'll dispatch someone down there, blah, 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 and they'll meet you. Where do you live? So I gave her the address. I said, oldest trailer in here. Maybe. I might be the oldest. It's a 57. And that's 1 year older than me. And so that's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm going to hang around with her. If we could just get the old guys who are out here fooling around in the middle of the night to get out of bed, tell me, was the leak before the Silcock or after the Silcock? If it's after the Silcock, the only reason you would ever care is if the Silcock had catastrophically failed itself, so that even in the so-called off position, it wasn't off and there was a flooding issue. You'd think we were doing brain surgery. But at any rate, I'm going to try to get this stupid bundle unwound. And you know, the neighbors here, I'm not trying to criticize them or anything like that, but a lot of them are Hispanic. And I know they have a kind of a attitude. They're not going to call the city. They're not going to make trouble. They're not going to stir this up. They're not going to get to the bottom of this crap. They don't want to make waves, man. You know, a lot of them might not even be here legally. And, you know, I don't blame them. Shoot, if I was a Mexican, I'd probably come over here too. But the thing is that the situation is strange. We're on a so-called federal holiday, and I just don't know what happened last night and why someone cared so desperately to call in to the city, I've got a leaky faucet. Why would the city care? And why does the city care whether the faucet leaks or holds water? They're just selling water by the gallon. And as long as the line is intact and safe, and the water is still potable, not polluted, it's so weird. And it's the sort of thing that, you know, when you deal with it at 64, I just look at it and I just keep thinking to myself, is there an adult in the room? So weird. Well, you guys have a good day. I hope to eventually get something accomplished, but at least for sure, I'm going to try to, I think I'm going to anchor. I'm going to ground my boots similar. I might show them to you later on. They're going to have to be a little bit different design somehow because the way the leather works on those high-rise boots. But I'll contuse something in my noggin. But I might show you that later if you're interested at all. And you guys have a good day. And go turn on the water, will ya? Well, why was it turned off? How would I know? You guys have a good day.